Hello and welcome to another episode of Stellaris. My name is Tobal, and this is the United Terran Alliance, home on Sol, and we have a couple colonies going on in Alpha Centauri as well as Lothandra, and we are at war right now with the Holy Romaine Empire and I believe it's the Tree Hive, correct? Yeah, the Tree Hive is the allies in this one. We are lucky enough to be graced with the assistance of the Church of the One True Gilbert. A couple of things that I have forgotten about Stellaris just in the last couple of little bit. We had a live stream the other day, and we kind of messed around a bit, and I forgot there's a couple options here that we need to take note of. One thing is that I've been expanding in a more expensive way than I really need to. I think I've been trying to grab systems that are much farther away, and it's actually much cheaper to expand into a system that's right next to an existing sector that you own rather than jump over it. So for example, because this is 2 jumps away from home territory, it's double the cost in terms of influence that it would be if it was right next door. So from here on out, I'm going to be trying to really get some smart expansion going instead of being very aggressive and jumping ahead. We've got the blockers kind of where we want it. We blocked off the Holy Romaine Empire, or sorry, the Field of Brussels Sprouts up here. We blocked them off with Targon. From that point, I think we're okay to take things a little bit slower. So I'm going to be working on that for a bit. We are continuing our expansion. We do need to catch up a bit on some of our production and our materials. We're a little bit low on consumer goods. Let's take a look at our automatic trades. We are trying to desperately buy enough consumer goods to keep ourselves above the above water, basically. What else is going on? Our governor is one of our bugger friends that we have from the underground territories, I believe. Probably one of the refugees that has then helped spawn a second population. So we do have a couple of foundries going. Now, did we find the research for... Not yet. There is research for the second level, basically, of the alloy mega forges right here is what I'm talking about. We probably need to get this as soon as possible. And honestly... with his... Oh, sorry. You know what? I'm getting this mixed up. Not alloy mega forges. We actually need more consumer goods. I don't know where consumer goods are in. Are they in anywhere else? Consumer goods. That is a good question. Well, we'll keep the research going where it is right now. I think research complexes are a flat upgrade to the existing research complex that we already have. Of course, we do have this ascension point waiting. The thing is, we are... still trying to figure out which route to go. I think a lot of the advanced things require something else. So, for example, if we wanted to do Voidborn, we need the Star Fortress technology. If we wanted to do Mind Over Matter, which is leading to Transcendence, that requires Psionic Theory. So, a lot of these perks require different levels of technology. So, I think for the moment, we're going to keep holding off and waiting until we get the best technology that, you know, whatever technology comes our way. Maybe we'll just go with whatever's available to us. But for the moment, we're going to let it go. I do have the game paused real quick while we take stock of what's happening here. So, what's going to benefit us the most in the next couple of turns here? For the most part, we've blocked off this little section of space. Now, there is a chance that somebody, namely the one true Gilbert, can continue expanding back towards us along this back row. Which they might, and it would make sense. It looks like they actually are currently trying to build a station right here. Oh, they actually already have, so apparently the territory does reach out this way. So really, for them, the next obvious choice would be Feldazir. I think I'd like to expand at least down to Izar, so that we can get all of this in our territory. That's a lot of resources. That's a lot of physics research, actually. Quite a bit of physics research, a huge bump and engineering research over on the Singularity as well. More towards this way, we're coming up alongside the edge of the Field of Brussels Sprouts. All of this could be our territory because all of this, there's no other exits to the north or east in this direction. So expanding here can be whenever we want to do it. I'm going to actually manually give a couple of orders here, though. I want to finish surveying this little chain. And then I want you to come over here and survey the opposite side, and then we'll go from there. And maybe from there do the research, the projects that are in system. At some point we will try to head up this way, but I think we need to because this is kind of a focal point. This is where our ship can go left, right, you know, that kind of a thing. It's blocked right now by alien vessels being in the system, so we might have to send a fleet up that way. In this direction, we do have another planet. We do have a continental world that's a good distance away. And now we have to be careful here because there is a Stellarite, Stellarite Devourer, which is basically just a really big, ginormous space enemy. It is a Leviathan class enemy. There is a megastructure in the Bide system. I believe it was a planetary... No, it's a Dyson sphere. I think that you can build habitation around that at some point. It's been a while since I messed with some of the mega construction projects, although that is the route I'd like to take. So maybe it would make sense right now to expand ourselves towards this continental world. That way we kind of block off, or maybe at least Guy, and that way we block off any expansion from these other races. Let us take... Where's our other construction ship? Didn't we have two at one point? One there, one down here. Perfect. Well, you're not actually doing too much. Let's have you expand in the Canadarius system. Oh, sorry, Canadrius system. We'll have you expand into the Canadrius system. We are getting a good amount of influence, so that's not bad. I'm not going to queue up the next order, though, because I want to make sure we're only spending 75 influence to expand from there. So I'll give the order to expand afterwards. Now, the game might be smart enough that if I queue up a construction job to expand into this system, you see how it took 150 from us right then? It might be smart enough to give 75 of that back once this is in our territory, but to be honest, I'll just be safe and give one order at a time. Okay, otherwise, we are currently trying to take point with the fleet, although it seems like the fleet doesn't want to really follow us. I also realized earlier that I am over my fleet capacity. So if we go into the fleet manager, this is something new that was introduced, I think, this was 2.2, I believe. The fleet management, your leader, based on their skill, can only carry or support so many ships in their fleet. Think of it almost, if you're familiar with Hearts of Iron, it's kind of the level of the general can only support so many troops. So we may have to go ahead and grab a new fleet here and split the fleet up a bit. I'm going to go to the leaders tab, take a look at who we can buy. Mostly in their 40s. We do have a super aggressive, that's a fire rate and sublight speed. I sometimes like logistics though, because it really can... Oh, we're super broke. It really can help you maintain a larger fleet at a cheaper cost. Probably Pyotr Shatilov will hire after we get enough money, a couple more months from now. What else do we want to do? Now we're pretty tight here on this battle. Unfortunately, they've lost a lot of wars. What do we get? So the Holy Roman Empire will get Romsir. That's what all of this came over, is Romsir. So we need to make some kind of a push, because our allies are getting pushed back in their side by the Tree Hive. So we need to make ourselves a push as well. Now, do we have an army? We do have an army ready to go. We've taken over a couple systems ourselves. Our allies have taken over Urantok. I don't think we have enough to do a huge stand-up fight. Well, I guess we have 2,000 strength, though. What's the penalty for being over your fleet limit? Is it just a huge increase in your cost, maybe? I'm honestly not sure. It would make sense that it's actually a huge increase in cost, because that's what it tends to do, I believe, in Hearts of Iron, or not, well, Hearts of Iron perhaps, but also EU4, I think. If you're over your limits, generally speaking, you start to incur some pretty severe penalties in cost. So why don't we go ahead and create another fleet? Can I create it from the fleet manager screen? I haven't used it all that much. I don't really see an ability to create another fleet here, but we can probably split. Oh, new fleet right here. Okay, perfect. So let's add a... Interesting. That was already kind of an option just sitting there. Okay, we'll call this the secondary fleet. We're going to say that... Now, this is where you set your target of how many ships you want in that fleet. Can we split... Okay, this is more of a, you add the design to the fleet, and you basically say, this is how many of this I normally want to have. And then you can do a quick reinforcement button, and it'll try to make that layout of the fleet. It becomes much more handier down the road once you have some pretty large fleets. We're going to split the fleet in half. We are going to wait till, you know, I'll tell you what, why don't we just get a little bit of gold right here. Gold, credits. Okay, we just sold a little bit so we can get some money. Let's hire, Piotr. Assign him to that fleet. Perfect. Is his fleet commander 18 out of 18? Is that perfect where it is? Oh, it is. I think it is. I think his limit is literally... Is it command limit? Out of 50, command limit, corvettes. Oh, wait, am I not... Maybe I got that mixed up. Maybe it was telling us how many of the... Alright, bear with me here. We'll figure this one out. I need to get rid of some of these extra things. Can we just do this? Perfect. Get rid of this extra junk here. So where's the 50 coming from? Is the 50 telling us that we can have... That's how many overall naval capacity, correct? So 27 must be the command limit. Or is it how many we have ordered? Oh, that's how many we have had ordered. So really... We didn't need to split this. It's just telling us that we have more corvettes in this fleet than we really ever wanted. But we can increase that to something like 50. That makes sense. Okay, so we actually don't need that other one. So what do we do? Which admiral do we want to keep? We've got Unyielding and Scout. I do like Scout. Unyielding isn't bad, although I don't like the combat disengagement chance. We'll keep the other admiral for a bit. Okay, so we're not over our command limit, which is good. So I guess the command limit is straight up naval capacity, or does it just happen to be 50 on both? Either way, no big deal. Pyramid Schemes is no longer a valid rival. Interesting. They're peaceful traders. I wish we could be some peaceful traders. I don't really want to piss them off just because they are already in a federation, and we are not quite there yet. Alright, can we start sending our fleet? Yeah, we'll just do the first fleet. The first fleet of the year, yes. Otherwise, we don't have a whole lot of defenses right now. Everything is currently packed up inside of this fleet. So we need to make some headway pretty quickly in order to make a stab into the Holy Roman Empire territory. Our science ships are still working. Our transport fleet is building up an army, and Earth is basically training our bugger friends. I believe our bugger friends are going to become, yeah, part of that army. Yes, they are. So they're going to be the big ones that are going to be hitting for us. So what do we have in the Life Giver system? We have 2 fleets totaling around 1,800 strength, and they have a shipyard as well, or a pretty large military station, which means that we're not really going to be able to clear them out in a pitched battle. It includes the station. However, if we take over Brocken, it might provoke them to come out and fight with us. So let's see if we can't take Brocken. And now we might have some losses here, so we have to be a little bit careful. I wish you guys would join us. That's a bit of a bummer. Oh, we do have the thing chosen, the option chosen for the... well, we did it previously. Let's see if we can redo it, if it does anything. I doubt it will. Yeah, our allies are not deigning to follow us, which is unfortunate. So our characters are going to dive down into the center of the system. We're going to take on this this station. Now, are they responding to that? No, they're not. Okay. Peace offer. This is a status quo. Neither side currently occupies claimed territory. Okay, so neither side currently occupies claimed territory belonging to the other. And we kind of do. Without border adjustments. This is an end to the war without any loss, I think. If I'm reading this correctly, a status quo just means neither side gets anything. We're going to agree to this because we don't really want this war. Okay, awesome. It actually was that situation. Okay, so this was good. Our fleet will probably get boosted out of here. Are we in the middle of combat? Okay, it ended our combat. We're getting forced out of their territory. Can we start making some amends with them, maybe? Oh, they really hate us. they're really not going to ever not hate us. They're theocratic monarchy. They're just zealots, so they have a -100 already to begin with. I suppose we could try to build up that trust to counteract that particular part of it. Rival allied to rivals. It's going to be pretty hard to overcome. I wouldn't mind trying to get better into... Slow things down just a notch because we need to recover a moment of thought after this. Can we try to get into this galactic color commonality? Could we trade with them for something? Maybe like an active sensor link? Does that... Not really. They absolutely unfriendly and hate us. But they're so cuddly and I just want to be allies. What about the Serene Quilzard Concordat? Again, they are part of a federation here. And it would not be bad if we were able to do that. I would love to be part of this. Again, do you want information? Nope, you're unfriendly as well. This galaxy's filled with... Quill really made some really mean people. What about the Lachus? Lachus? You're kind of at a 0. That's not bad. We might be able to make some peace with you. Who are you against? You are rivaling Field of Brussels Sprouts, Hand of Armok, and Wanderworms. Are you guys all together in some kind of an alliance? Because that would be absolutely horrible for us. You're only in an independence, a defensive pact. Nice. The Caravaneers have dropped off a ship, so we'll be able to get that in a second. I'm just so surprised we don't have better relations right now. I think we're trading with them. Are we trading? Or do we just have a... They have closed borders to us. We're guaranteeing them, which does increase our trust. That's why we're getting a trust benefit. So trust is great because it's a forced diplomatic increase. So at the end of it, I think we can get a maximum of 100 trust, which might open more doors for us. And they are hive mind. Yeah, this is going to be okay for us, though, I hope. They're also with the Just Talk Imperium, so maybe we can make friends with them. And maybe this can be our super powerful friends. Yeah, they're actually already at 50 with us, which is decent. Let's go ahead and also, how much are we getting in influence? That's not the best. Oh gosh, wrong button. Also wrong button. Trade deal, information. No, you actually don't mind that too much. I'll just throw in some resources here. Like 1 credit. Okay, or 10. We'll just give the minimum that gets us into this little deal, just to make sure it's a +1. I think they do it on a 0, I'm not sure. This is going to give us it's kind of a trade of information on who they know. And it'll give an active sensor link. Really, I believe it's just going to, long-term, increase our trust, because we do have a trade deal. I'll have to double-check to see if this will increase trade or not.
Empire has established communications.
Right, so we now have made known of a couple different folks here. Victoria the Third. Now, is your trust going to go up because we have an active trade deal? Not really. It doesn't look like. Open borders. Okay, nothing really going on there. Oh, wow. This is a good chunk of the world here. So we've got the Zikmok Ancients. I think this is a... Yeah, Ascendant. This is one of the enigmatic observers. These are a super powerful empire that is just kind of in decline, and they're waiting to grow and go crazy. Victoria the Third, of course, being pulled in from Civ, because every single game has Victoria, and she's always a snot. Alright, so our main fleet, 50 wanted. Oh, that's telling us that we're actually short on the amount of ships that we want in this fleet. That's why it's red. Let's have everyone go ahead and repair up. And we can focus a little bit more on... Yeah, we did get a ton of armies there, but now they're not even needed. Okay, this construction ship isn't doing much. We do have the influence to start expanding down this direction. Let's grab... Let's go ahead and grab Dultari.
System survey complete.
There is also a abandoned Caravaneer ship. I'll tell you what, why don't you do that? Since you're in Sol, could you just go ahead and do that real quick? Where's it at? Is it not in Sol? Oh, it's in Ramsir, all the way down here. Okay. Let's grab one of our construction ships. Where did you guys abandon it at? There it is. Let's turn that on. For some reason, it's actually not, like, really tracking too well. I think all we have to do is have a construction ship in orbit around Ramsir, and then we'll get access to some of the knowledge of this abandoned ship by the Caravaneers. Perfect. Alright, what else is going on? How is Alpha Centauri? We haven't checked on Alpha Centauri in a minute. We just expanded this direction. Let's keep expanding towards Hark. Is the goal. We do want to drop a new colony there.
Anomaly found.
Cool, sounds good. Go ahead and research that. Let's take a look at these other planets, because we need to start using these for more production of consumer goods and things like that. So we're at 22 jobs and 18 population, which means we have an overabundance of jobs right now. So this is not going to be able to get used for a while. Although we could probably kill one of the generator districts, honestly. Can we do that? Demolish one? How much did it cost to build? That really was only 300 minerals. That's not too bad. Let's destroy one so that we basically... I think there's one of these that has no jobs in it. What has no jobs? We have 1 out of 2 clerks, 7 out of 8 technicians. Let's fill these 2 jobs first, and then we'll make a decision on where to go. I don't like to have too many open buildings, because then you're not really sure who's working what. Your population might work the less important building and leave the main one away. Leave the main one empty, rather. The other colony, Redemption, we have a gene clinic down. Do we have a surplus of food? We do. Can we go ahead and just drop the population growth here? Can we also do that on New Eden as well? 25% population growth will help us out. We're at 6 population. We have 10 jobs waiting. So again, we have to wait a little while for this to fill up with people. We have a ton of openings here. Man, I went too crazy with some of these buildings. We're going to have to wait a long time for the population to catch up to us a bit. We do have to start focusing back on consumer goods. We're getting I don't want too much to get away from us, because if we're sitting here buying so much in consumer goods, that's going to be a major issue. So I will try to rectify that coming up. Continually expanding our territory and dropping down mining stations and research stations are going to help us out as well. So that's what we're going to focus on for the next little bit. Is there any way to reduce the consumer good usage here? No, it's just really consumed by the pops and the jobs. That's just kind of a flat cost. Let's have our fleet clean out some of the areas over towards this direction of space. This is only 535, 532, so we'll send them there first. Okay, we've got some documents that need to be translated. Speed things up again. Are there any way to reduce other costs? We have 47 cost for energy credits right now for our fleet. We unlocked research complexes, which are awesome. I love having more research alternatives. Research alternatives are how many of these cards are shown each time. So we could increase this by 1. We'll be at 5. That means you get 5 options every time a technology finishes. We'll be able to, you know, pick 1 out of the 5 that show up. It gives you a little bit more choice. I think I like that because we're trying to aim for a couple specific technologies. If we weren't looking for one in particular, I wouldn't mind it too much. Did I accidentally pick alloy megaforges back in the... I actually did. Okay, fair enough. We'll go ahead and just process it through because we are going to continue to need alloys down the road, because they do cost. That's how you build ships. That's how you build outposts as well. We're going to keep expanding towards Hark. Oh, here's where another area where the Holy Romaine Empire can fight us. So it'll be good to maybe go all the way up to Yobrahir. Yopinir, sorry.
Research complete.
Very crazy names. Or maybe just Swir.
System survey complete.
Either or. Alright, construction ship is done with its work here. Let's research the project and system. We have an upgraded heritage site now. Artificial moral codes. We don't really have a crime problem. Surprisingly, no one has built any kind of a corporate outpost yet. I think because, well, I don't know, because they're a I guess because we're allies, but the Church of the One True Gilbert does have the ability to covertly install a secret cult church on our planet without our notification. And but that doesn't matter, I guess. We don't have too much crime in any of our colonies, so crime is not a problem. Food from farmers would not be bad. I think at this point food from farmers would be good because we are having a little bit of a food shortage. So gene crops should help us out a lot right now. All of our science ships are doing their sciencing. Let's grab one more. We have an army leader? We do. Let's have you get in command of this. Let's go ahead and grab one more because I love the factors of 10. We'll grab one more. Let's do it. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let's get a human army. Just to kind of, you know, at least say that we're helping as well. We're helping. Yeah, expanding to Herc will be good. Hark will be good. And then we can keep back expanding down this direction. Pretty soon. Actually, they did get Busim. Did they not have Busim a while ago? I feel like they did. As long as we can try to get down here, maybe. Well, we've got a lot of ways to go. Maybe we might want to work on that pretty soon. So once our construction ship here is done, I'm going to do a shift click to expand down towards Tystra. We are guaranteeing apparently quite a lot of people. Who are we guaranteeing right now? Can we see that?
Special project complete.
Nice, we got the research option for moat stabilization. Are there any edicts that might come in handy right now? Well, unfortunately, they all use your influence. However, we've spent a ton of our influence earlier when we were saving it up. So we have a lot of active edicts right now. They do last a very, very long time, which is nice. We're starting to get into a food shortage. However, we did just start the research on more food from farmers, so we'll have to keep an eye on this. At the moment, I'm going to just buy some food. We'll see if this technology will finish 61 months. I think we'll be okay. 180? Is that right? Math is hard. 180 or so food would be used during that time. If it doesn't change. It will change more because we are going to continue expanding, but it shouldn't reduce us to 0 in the stockpile. Isn't there a stockpile option down the road somewhere? Was that under... We haven't looked at decisions too much. We've looked at edicts. What am I think I'm thinking of policies. What kind of policies do we have? We are not allowed to purge. We prohibit slavery. That makes sense. We welcome refugees. We don't mind robotic workers, of course. That could be an interesting path to go down once we hit the... Now, certain technologies, if you're not familiar with Stellaris, certain technologies will unlock the ability for you to go down a certain tree. Let's see, there's no examples here. There's no examples here. So right here, powered exoskeletons is the first intro in the field of robotics. So if we go down this tree by unlocking powered exoskeletons, well, that leads our researchers to go, hey, you know what? Why don't we just build robots instead of exosuits? And then they're like, well, hey, why don't we build really fancy robots instead? Why don't we actually work on getting things like complete cyborgs? And then we start to get into AI. So that's how you start going down these different trees. We have lost a researcher. Oh, do we have just random a researcher who's a freaking genius and I've not been using? That must have been a transfer of governorship or chancellorship. That stinks. Well, we've had a nice governor or researcher sitting around doing nothing for a bit. We'll have them jump back into the fray. Let's go back into policies real quick.
Construction complete.
Interesting. Each collected trade value earns us... Oh, that's interesting. Each collected... You can say how much what trade goes towards. So each trade value earns us 1 credit. Or each trade value earns us half a credit in some consumer goods. I almost want to go... How much are we getting in trade? This would basically cut it in half. Wow, that's a lot. We are getting a lot in trade, but that would bring us up a lot in consumer goods. And then we could stop buying so many consumer goods, which would increase our energy credit. Let's do that. Let's change this to consumer benefits. Let's see what this does. It should split our income in half, but give us a huge boost to consumer goods. We'll have to wait probably a month for that to actually take effect. Somebody's unhappy about that, I think. Or no, red means you can't change it, if I remember correctly, because you've recently changed it. Yeah. Kind of economic policy, consumer goods, monthly alloys. We will keep it mixed because we do need a decent mix of both of those right now. Ooh, you can get a flat growth speed increase by pop food upkeep by 25%. Well, that's going to hurt us right now, obviously, because we have such a low amount of food. It's nice that you can actually give yourself some bonuses here. Very cool.
System survey complete.
Resettlement, of course, native enlightenment allowed.
Evading
Okay,
hostile
so
fleet.
that sounds good to me. Oh, run, run! You're too slow. I think you're gonna get caught. Maybe not. the space monkeys are after you. So we've dropped in a expansion into Hark. So we should be able to drop a colonization here. Can we send our friends? Like, can we have a world just for the Zraktapor? They are natural society researchers, societal researchers. Could this planet become like a societal haven? What kind of unique things do we have? Not a whole lot. It's just these sometimes you get planetary features that give you unique bonuses. Other times they give you how many generator districts or mineral districts you can have, or agricultural. Do our friends have any negatives to them? They get less unity. They are nomadic like us. Honestly, let's go ahead and I'll tell you what, let's have our allies, the Zraktapor, the buggers, let's have them colonize this Hark 3. We'll call it Zrak Prime in honor of their race. ZTRA. Okay, that's fine. So maybe this will become their new homeworld. They did start out, I believe, as a subterranean species. Is that right? If I remember correctly. But yeah, I feel like that's not... Yeah, we're their full sign. They're full citizens for us. I believe that's the case. Is that right? That's where they came from. Was on New Eden, was it? Subterranean contact zone. Yeah, fairly sure that's where that came from. We're gonna upgrade the monument to the heritage site. That's gonna give us more unity down the road. We cannot afford the monthly trades. Yeah, we got that. Oh, we actually are doing better. So everything took effect here from changing that up a bit. So let's go ahead and maybe drop that. Let's remove all of our trades for a bit and see where we stand. We're just above the red line here for consumer goods. We're actually barely making any minerals as well. So we probably need to start expanding back into the mineral side of the house pretty quickly. Alright, let's go back through all the systems you've missed. Gosh, we're actually so cheap on minerals that we can't make a ton. There we go. That really kicked things up here. But then it brought down our energy credits a lot because we stopped selling the minerals. But we are at least at a net positive in terms of consumer goods. Why don't you go ahead and drop some mining stations in? We'll wait till we have a bigger surplus to go back and build mining in everywhere. Now, you know, someone told me, by the way, if you have trade that's 2 nodes away from your starbase, by adding a second trade hub, it'll go out by 1. So, in Hark, we're actually 2 jumps away from extra trade, both here and in Wumjium. So I'm going to try to, first off, upgrade the station to a starport. Okay, we've got our the mega forges, which is great. Let's grab torpedoes. I'm always a big fan of torpedoes. I want to have some more options here. But the next time we fight, if we happen to fight the Holy Roman Empire, I would like to have something a little bit different in order for us to maybe give them a bit of a surprise. So we're going to upgrade that
System survey complete.
upgrade the station to a starport. Once we have the starport, we're going to drop 2 trade nodes there, and hopefully that should reach out and grab the trade that's sitting in Serac. Where else do we have? We have trade that's just sitting, waiting to be picked up.
Construction complete.
This has a trade hub right now, so it says collection range +1. So once we expand into Tystra, we'll also grab this trade, which is really important for us. 1, 2, 3 over by Olum.
Construction
So it starts
complete.
to become more important to have your star bases, your actual built stations farther apart and strategically in position so they can collect trade.
Anomaly found.
Alright, so we just got Tystra, and let's take a look at the trade thing. We haven't looked at that in a long time. So there is a bit of piracy here. We don't have this station up and running yet, so we are collecting trade from Iswiria, and we're collecting trade in, I believe, just in Sol General. Why don't we send our fleet, once we clear out a few enemies here, let's send our fleet to go on patrols to deal with those. You know what? Honestly, I don't think we need the full front of our fleet here. Let's branch off, maybe transfer ships. Let's just do 5 ships. We'll keep that there. Oh, we'll just trade them up. That's fine. Who's the better one here? Yeah, probably the guy who has the logistical upkeep will help us out more than the aggressor here. We'll switch that up during wartime. And we'll say this is the home fleet. This is going to be some kind of like more of a defensive thing. So we'll start them in, we'll start them in this Wiria, and we'll give them the patrol order down to Sol. And that should remove the piracy tag, hopefully if we have enough strength. I don't know if strength has anything to do with it, or if you just need like 1 or 2 military ships to deal with it. We had a slight reduction in our energy credit costs because we reduced the upkeep.
Construction complete.
All right, now we're starting to make more minerals. So let's go ahead and go onward with dropping some mining stations here. And then we'll probably expand to this area and then Bead maybe down the road. Or do we want to keep pushing this way? Swir would be really nice, and Red Ore would be really nice as well. Let's do that. Let's jump into Gei, and we'll grab Swir. That's going to be 5 energy credits from this system, and we can get a little bit of a boost to that, because that's the raw amount of resource you get. That's not including how much you get boosted from the technologies you have. By the way, sorry, I do have, if you notice, the silly bar coming up here every so often. If that's included in this catching of the video capture, I will have that fixed by next episode. I have to do that with Cataclysm, because Cataclysm is, I have to record in desktop mode. I can't really have like an in-game recording, so it throws me off just a bit every so often when I forget that. Alright, so now we have Tystra, and we are collecting trade from Tystra, I believe. Are we not? This has a 5 trade is collected by the Iswiria trade hub. Yes, cool. And you can see here that all this trade is collected. Now, what's the blue here versus the gray? What does that mean? Because you can see here the icon is gray. It says 5 trade is collected by the Iswiria trade hub. This one says 4 trade is collected by the Sol trade hub, and it's blue. Quite interesting. We don't really have any pirate raids. It says 100% of the trade coming out of Iswiria is reaching Sol. So... oh, piracy suppression value of at least 7. Cool. This has a piracy suppression value of 50. So this should be more than enough to patrol for our naughty friends. We're trying to chase down these other guys, these other aliens. I don't know what their strength is, so we'll have to bump them over a little carefully. What's our population looking like? We are free a building. Let's go ahead and grab the civilian industries. queue that up. Again, we're still ahead of the time on jobs. We still have more jobs than it's really needed. I could try to kill a mineral district here, a mining district, because we do have quite a bit of minerals, and that might force some people into other jobs. Maybe I'll do that. Let's go ahead and take one of the... demolish one of the mining districts. We'll lose a good chunk of minerals, but it should free up the population to start working on other jobs. As soon as we get one more population, we will be able to build another building on Sol. Hopefully, we'll be able to use that again for civilian industries, or we'll jump them into more mineral type of area, mineral extraction. All right, we have a bit of a fight coming up. We have a flagella type of enemy, which looks like a mother. Sorry about that, but you know, you're being aggressive, so that's your fault, not ours.
Engaged.
Let's see how bad this kicks our ass. All right, so we're killing the babies immediately. No problems there, really. Do we have the guy that's going to let us retreat? I can't quite remember what he does. I think this is the one with the iron. No, this is the upkeep guy, so that should be a little bit easier. All right, we didn't lose anyone, which is nice. We almost did. There's a ship that has, like, tons of damage here. Let's also try to clear out the rest of the trash in this sector. And then everything will be nice and clean for us to jump onto. Have a couple of worlds that'll be interesting in colonizing. The Wonder Worms have jumped into a trade or research agreement with the field of Brussels sprouts. And the Holy Roman Empire has done the same. We really need to make some friends here. We're starting to get pinchered a bit too much. Okay, our trade is helping us out with the field of Brussels sprouts. We can't, let's see, how long until we can do... We're at 92 more relations before we can do a number of Brussels sprout non-aggression. Oh, they've actually signed so many that they don't want to sign anymore. What about the Serene Cats? I don't think they liked anyone. Was that the case? Well, they were pretty friendly. What about you? 1092. Why is that? Unfriendly attitude. I don't... Gosh, were we like super aggressive early on? Did I miss something there? I don't think we've broken any promises. We established our, you know, our protective agreements, and we kind of went from there. I'll try to get somebody out here to research the flagella creatures that were killed in Mardom. And actually, I believe I can just do something like this. Why don't we do that real quick? Let's, before I forget, research that project, research this one, and then I'll add you on some manual survey missions to come back to Sunapel, survey these few systems, and you'll jump back over to the rest. And that should have this entire quadrant, and except for the ones that are blocked by enemies, taken care of. Our main fleet, our home fleet, is back in Iswiria. We'll have them give them a patrol order to Sol. That should clear up any piracy problems. Yeah, what's the difference between this? Is it... It's so interesting. I have no idea. Ooh, this is a pretty big fleet. 775 strength fleet. We might lose a couple ships here. That's to be expected, but we should come out ahead. We only lost a couple of ships on that fight, so that's not too shabby. Okay. What is this? Did we kill this? Alien space station? Don't mind if we do randomly blow up your space station. I'm going to send the fleet back, and I'm also going to go into the fleet manager and change the desired amount of ships in the first fleet to 30. And then what I'm going to do is just use the reinforce all button, and that's going to build up to what you want. And this is really, really useful if you start having corvettes, or sorry, not corvettes, but frigates, destroyers, cruisers, things like that, because then you can say, I want to have 30 cruisers, 20 frigates, and then as soon as you don't have that many, you could just hit reinforce all, and it'll build whatever you need. Now we could add... we could add a ship design. We could add a destroyer in here if we wanted to. We could say that we want to have 5 of the Panama class ships. I wouldn't mind doing that. Let's also give them a repair fleet option. That's going to cost us 985 alloy if we decided to build those destroyers. I don't think we need them right now. All that would do is increase our energy costs, which we're already struggling with. I know I am letting this sink for a bit. We will make it work. 2 of our construction ships are not doing much right now. Let's continue our push into Swir. I'm trying to save all of my influence for expansion. We just lost one of our other scientists. I think that was the genius scientist who we didn't. She's already like 81. I think I'll grab. What kind of leaders do we already have? For the physics, we have a genius. Okay, so you can be moved wherever you want. You need to be. So I'm gonna grab the person that was a physics specialist. I'm going to go into the technology, swap them out, and then swap in that the Spark of Genius person. And now we should be back on task. Luckily, this person actually does have computing, which is what this technology is, so she is getting a flat boost from that as well. What are we researching? Did we get... You know what? We got the... Did we not get the research complexes? Oh, we have to have Betharium gases? Is that what that resource is? Well, that's going to be annoying. Exotic gases. Where can we find exotic gases at? Where might that be? Is that in the expansion planner? I don't rightly know where to find that. We probably need the technology to unlock it before we can even see it. That might be the problem. Is we don't see it because we don't even know that it exists. That's a lot of systems with special research in them. We'll have to catch up on that maybe next episode. It is about a good point from here for me to wrap things up. Thank you guys so much for... What in the world? There's no route for the selected fleet to reach the system. Where are you? Oh, because you can't get through here. It's interesting that he picked up something in Nathasgal from being so far away. We'll have to clear this fleet out if we want to get there. We do want to try to get over there because we want to expand and block off Nathasgal from the Holy Romaine Empire so we can snag that from right under them. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of Stellaris. I do hope to see you again soon. Take care.